Thank you for listening and welcome to the Life Podcast. I'm your host, Don Smith. Mike Shea from the podcast Mike Talks Funny stops in to talk about podcasts, Renfest, LARPing, and pirate heavy metal music. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org. All right, it is noonish. It is Wednesday. It's time for the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith. Sometimes you just have to cut a song off in the middle of the song when it tells you get a half hour before you can start your broadcast that starts at noon. So
not okay.
It's not okay. I'm sitting here in the studio. My first guest is in already, Mr. Mike Shea.
Don, thanks for having me again.
Hey, it's good to have you. Now, you do Mike Talks Funny.
Mike
is
Talks
your
Funny.
Podcast.
Every Tuesday, 9 p.m., live on Spreaker, and then it's up right away as soon as it's done on iTunes.
Oh, so you do it live, too?
I do it live. Live. I'm old school radio, so
that's the only way to do it.
I don't know any other way to do it. I tried the pre-recorded stuff, and then I just sit there for 6 hours editing it, it's like, you know what, it doesn't sound natural.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I did my first one that I actually put out as a podcast. Mm-hmm. It was 2 hours long. Mm-hmm. Which edited down ended up about an hour and 20 minutes. There were, I think, 3 people in the studio plus one on the phone, and it took, I think it was about 8 or 9 hours of actual editing time.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm cutting the intro and outro off, and I'm putting my new stuff on there for the podcast, and that's all I'm doing with it.
Exactly. Yeah, I do the YouTube thing once in a while. I love the video stuff, and for that, I'll put in the time. But for just me talking, into a mic, just let it come naturally. That's where the best stuff happens.
Well, yeah, that's I try to run this show spontaneous. Every now and then it takes a big nosedive, and every now and then I get angry letters.
That's part of the game, though. That's part of the fun.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's the angry letters are definitely fun.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah, it wasn't a letter; it was actually a review. If you go to the wwsu1069.org,
right,
you can look up my show, and it actually has a review entitled "Boobs." Really? And that's
who doesn't like boobs?
Exactly. Apparently somebody doesn't like us talking about them. So ever since I saw that, I think boobs have been the topic for about every show I've done.
It's got to come up at least once.
Exactly.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Because I want more angry letters. I want more. See, because there's so much hate in the world. Why direct it outwards to, the deserving people when I will sit here and take your hate mail all day long with a smile?
Exactly. I just there's that new app that's out now called SirAha or whatever.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So what I did is I started a segment on the podcast called Silly SirAhas, which is just, here's the link to mine. It's MikeSheaComedy.SirAha.com. Send me your angriest, most frustrated. Just send me the most messed up thing going through your head right now. It's totally anonymous, and some of the stuff that when you tell people they've got anonymity and free will to say what they want. Some of the, I've been told I smell like the used CD bin at a record store,
which is really cool that they can smell that over the podcast
exactly,
too, because that's pretty strong.
I've had people asking, can I smell your farts, stuff like that. It's like, you get the good and the bad. And
well, how are you going to answer though? It's anonymous.
Exactly. So, it's like it's
if you're gonna ask that question, at least have some contact information.
Right. No, like let me respond at least. Like at least let me tell you yes or no.
Right.
Or maybe,
I forgot how much fun it is broadcasting during the actual semester.
Oh,
there are people walking past the window that are just looking shocked at the I think as we were talking there, we were, because we look like a bad kung fu movie because there's that 10-second delay. So we had already moved on to SirAha, and they were still hearing boos. So, see, that's what you need when you broadcast live. You need a big picture window with a bunch of people walking past so they can look at you disgusted.
Oh, I know. It's great.
That's so much fun.
One of these days I'm going to find a way to do the live camera stream thing into my bedroom while while I'm podcasting.
Okay. While you're okay.
Which is not a whole lot better than just live streaming my bedroom in general.
This is a PG rated show, right. So we gotta.
Well, I podcast. It's me sitting there drinking a beer in my underwear while I'm talking to a microphone.
Yeah,
you can take from that what you will, ladies.
Yeah, that's that would be an exciting feed right there.
It would gain some attention, that's for sure.
Yeah. I've been thinking about starting to do the actual podcast itself live and just get out of radio, because sometimes this drives me nuts, especially with the new semester starting. Which, by the way, welcome back, everybody.
Oh yeah, it is that time of year.
It is. This is welcome week. It's the first week of the new semester. Everybody is not yet ready to walk out. There are still people deciding whether or not they want to drop all their classes and disappoint their parents. And for me, it's too late. They were disappointed a long time ago.
This is the point where you decide whether or not you want to have a career with your name on your shirt.
Right. Which when I worked here, I had my name on my shirt.
I mean,
then I went back to where I used to work. Now I have an actual a badge.
Yeah, see,
with my name on.
I went from having a name tag to a name badge.
Yeah, that's moving up.
There is.
That's upward mobility.
When it goes from being plastic to laminated, that's when you know you've made it.
Well, yeah, that badge is important. It gets you in and out. You got to have it.
Get that little key fob with the microchip in it that scans you into the door. That's how you know you're on your way.
You've made it at that point. And I still got the janitor's keys jangling from my belt still, which so that's great too. That's another indicator of a success story.
Oh yeah, right, you got access to things.
Oh yeah,
I'm
somebody now.
I've got a bunch of stuff jingling on my keychain, but it's mostly bottle openers. I'm not saying I have a problem. I know what I'm doing.
I think there's a whole bucket of WWSU bottle openers.
Are there really?
Keychains out in the lobby there. So help yourself.
I've got the one that Cal made.
Right. Oh yeah.
Those
the key.
The keys. Those are awesome. I love those.
That's the key to your the end of your sobriety. I think is what that is, and the key to the comedy world.
Oh man, that's great.
Cal got roasted last week.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to the roast.
Me either. That second shift job, they're a pain in the butt.
It does, but I was able to send one of my camera guys down there to film it for Gary. So we've got
that's
that.
Good.
We're going to go drop that off at Wiley's later this afternoon. I have a meeting later, but before we go to the meeting, we're going to drop that off with him and hopefully get that out to everybody. It's just a single camera shot, but we wanted to, because it was a big thing and there's a lot of folks who just couldn't make it that wanted to be there. Like myself.
Yeah.
But,
and me. I couldn't make it either.
It's just, it sucks, but I heard it was a lot of fun. I heard it was great. I haven't seen the footage yet, so I can't wait to watch it myself and hopefully get it out to everybody soon. Because Cal's a good guy.
Yeah, Cal's awesome. He was in here last week in the studio with us, and we got to talk about him getting ready to get roasted, and we talked a lot about cars driving into houses, of course, because that's a Cal Westray thing. You can't talk to Cal without cars driving into houses coming up at some point.
Did he talk about the house that's had like 7 cars drive into it at some point?
I believe he brought that up. There was a bunch of them that he liked to look at the ones that had been run into several times.
Yeah, it's this house like in the Midwest. I saw a story about where like it had 7 cars or something run into it over the course of like 10 years, and I'm like, at that point you just tear down that house.
Yeah, I think just find somewhere else to build a house.
There's something buried in the ground in the backyard or something that's just it's like an old driver or something, like an old hit and run driver got buried back there, and now it's cursed.
Yeah, well, there's one outside of West Milton up there that's right at. It's on Rangeline Road and I think Garland Road.
Okay.
Because there's kind of a jog in Garland right there at Rangeline, and that house, I think that house has been hit several times. I'm not sure how often, but I'd say it's probably close to that 7 times in 10 years. It seemed like there for a while. Every other time I drove past it, they were repairing damages from a car driving into them.
There's that one out on Stroop heading towards West Carrollton where something hit the side of it last year, and the side of the house, and there's still just a huge hole in the side with like a tarp over it. And I'm like, sooner or later you got to get that fixed.
Yeah, that's it's covered. We're good.
Water ain't getting in. We're all right.
The raccoons haven't chewed through the tarp yet. We're all right. We'll just get a new one if they do. It's probably a double layered tarp. That way you keep the animals from chewing through. It's a safety tarp.
Keep the kids from getting out.
Yeah.
Y'all don't go in. They don't come in. Y'all don't go out. That's how this works.
That's the rules of tarp house, kid. Yeah.
It's like we're camping. We're camping every day.
Camping in our own living room. That's always fun.
Oh yeah.
So what do you talk about on Mike Talks Funny?
I like to let the listeners decide. So I have the thing sponsored through Patreon, and so what I do is anybody who is any kind of sponsor, $1 a month or more, or whatever, I put up a poll every week with like 5 or 6 different topics and let them vote on it. Oh, I'm
going to have to do that because just to see if I have listeners. That's really the
I like Patreon a lot because it keeps the creator held responsible for me, because like you have stuff like GoFundMe. Right. Where you can say, if you donate this much money, I'll give you this, but there's nothing to really hold them accountable.
Right.
Patreon makes sure that, like, you promised X, Y, and Z for this kind of subscription. Make sure that it gets done. Make sure it gets submitted. So, like, for me, I have things like for $1 a month, you get to vote in the poll. You get access to the Patreon feed where I'll post, like, here's a preview of the upcoming show, or here's a preview of whatever video series I'm working on, something like that. I have a thing with Wiley's right now where if you subscribe $50 a month, you basically get a freebie entry every month into Wiley's.
Oh, cool.
Well, for you and 4 friends. So $50 a month, 5 people, you can get into Wiley's for free once a month.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, do stuff like that. Stuff with, again, the early access things, discount codes on, because I have my own entertainment company and we produce videos and music and stuff like that. So discount codes on stuff like that. And so, but
what's the company?
Eventide Entertainment.
Eventide Entertainment.
I'll have to look. I'll send you a link.
Okay.
But we started out as a record label, and then we moved into we manage bands, and we manage podcasts and web series and things like that, and do talent management, press kits, marketing, that kind of thing.
Well, I might need your help because I cannot manage all this talent. That's the problem. I can barely manage this podcast and the radio show. I certainly can't manage all this talent. Right. So I will have to. I'll have to get a hold of you. And what are your rates? I mean, for this much talent, because that's going to be a lot.
We'll talk. We'll talk. You have your checkbook handy.
Yeah, because it's a lot of talent, man.
But yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. Once in a while, something will hit me, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put off the voted topic for next week. I got something specific I want to talk about. Like I went on a camping trip recently, so I wanted to make sure I talked about that when I got back from the camping trip.
It wasn't in the house with the tarp.
No, they wouldn't. They told me to leave. Oh. No, I'm a member.
And you said, but the tarp was open. I just came right in.
The tarp here there was a gap.
Those dang raccoons
right
through again.
Now, I remember this group called the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, which is a fancy way of saying LARPing. And so,
somehow I can see that. Just from the LARPers I've met, I can look at you and say, that might be a LARPer right there.
Well, what we do is it's almost like those Civil War reenactments, only it's based in the medieval times as opposed to in like the 1800s. And so what it is out near Cooper's Lake in Pennsylvania, in Slippery Rock, they actually have this Cooper's Lake campground, and about 11,000 people basically rent the place out and turn it into like a medieval countryside for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so my group and I, there's about 30 of us, we're actually pirates. And so we have a couple folks who took some flatbed trailers and built trailers that look like pirate ships that you can live in. And we set up a camp with like 30 tents and some kitchen stuff. And we basically live like, pirates for a week. Hey, look,
that's what I'm not laughing at you. It's just it sounds like it would be a blast.
It's actually one of those things that when you first hear about it, you're just like, okay, that sounds cool, Mike. Good for you. But like but then because that's what I said, because a bunch of my friends were in it, and then when I went and actually experienced it one year, I was just like, I don't want to leave. This is the.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on how they approached you. Because if somebody came up to me, I don't care how close a friend they were. If they came up and said, "Hey, you want to go camping and be a pirate?"
Right.
I'm probably going to have to turn them down.
Well, and that's they just said, "Hey, we have these parties every Friday. Come hang out with us." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And it was a bunch of the guys from the group who they sit around. Like one of the guys actually works as like a leather worker. He makes stuff out of leather. Mm. So they had where he brought a bunch of strips and they were making like bracers and belts. One guy actually works as like a blacksmith, like a metalsmith, and he built a little smithing table outside of his house, and they'll make like stuff out of metal, and one of the girls, she works as a seamstress, she makes clothing and stuff like that. So, hey, I need like a cloak, she'll make you a cloak, things like that. Cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so we go to and so for a week, it's basically there's all kinds of events and stuff going on. You can actually like go partake in like medieval combat, which is foam swords and stuff, but they teach you they actually teach you about like how the hierarchy works, how people got promoted in the ranks back then, and if you want to be like the herald of a court, how you can do that properly, and like how to seat people. Like the king sits here, the queen sits here, the king from another land sits here, things like that. If you're a history buff like me, it is an absolute blast. And if you just love, getting drunk, it's also a blast.
Well, yeah.
Because pretty much after.
Well, yeah, if you're going to be a pirate, you have to be drunk. There's got to be rum involved.
Oh, there's rum, beer, mead.
Yeah.
If it's alcohol, I mean, because after 9, when because there's people who build like shops and stuff out of tents up in like an area called the market. And then the rest of it after 9 is like the camps just throw parties. So you wander all the different camps and have a party, and just make sure you get home safe.
So if you wander into the wrong camp, are there like enemies? You wander into the wrong camp and you get set upon.
Most. I mean, the number one rule of Penzic is don't be a jerk, and I'm paraphrasing because it's actually another word. But basically don't be a jerk to people. Right. It's probably one of the most tolerant, friendly places I've ever been to in my life is the medieval reenactment. Go figure.
Yeah, which you wouldn't think would be a tolerant era.
Not at all. No, but I mean, like right when you drive in the main gate, I mean, there's a big orange sign that says like no bullying of any kind is permitted. But they take care of each other really well. I mean, there is a thing called the game, which all the pirate camps play, which is just basically shenanigans. We've got this statue of a dragon that sits outside of our gate. Somebody took our dragon. We need to go find it and take something of theirs. And it's a lot of back and forth pirate shenanigans. And, typically rounds out with, if you want your dragon back, you have to bring us like a case of beer or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be entertaining. I don't know if I could handle 2 weeks of it.
Well, you don't have to go for the whole 2 weeks. I only went for 1 week because I will say I walked about 6 to 8 miles a day. Wow. Up and downhill. It was, I mean, you lose weight. You are guguaranteed to lose weight when you go.
Well, that's why you got to have all that beer to balance it out.
Exactly. You want to make sure you come back at the exact same weight.
Yeah. Do they weigh you before and after when you, just to make sure?
Some of us do as like a challenge. Like, I want to see how much weight I can not lose.
He's a little light. Get him some more beer. No, not light beer. Well, I used to go to the Renaissance Festival all the time. Used to be one of my favorite things until it became so family oriented that it just bored the hell out of me. Because it used to be cool. I mean, there was actually, you go to the joust, I mean, they'd beat the crap out of each other. And I think what it was is when they first started, they thought, this is just a thing. We'll go in there and give it our best. And then they realized, well, wait a minute, this hurts. Plus, it can be a career.
Right.
So it's kind of like once you make it into the NFL, you're not going to play as hard as you did because you've made it. You're there.
Right, exactly.
You don't have to prove anything.
You're getting paid You're getting paid 8 figures.
Right.
I don't want to lose out on that.
So, but no, I used to go to the Renaissance Festival all the time. I actually used to dress up for the Renaissance Festival.
I'm thinking about it this year.
And I think since I missed the first year that they did it, Ohio Renaissance Festival, and then I went I think it was 14 years in a row. I never missed one.
Oh wow.
I made sure I was there because I was into that stuff, That's why I can't make fun of you for that because I was into it, and my ex-wife started getting into it, and that's when I was like, I'm done. But,
it's not cool anymore.
Yeah, that's no longer my thing. That's her thing now. She got that in the divorce, I guess. I'll take the house. You take the Renaissance Festival. We're good. But I'd gone to it so much, I'd seen all the shows and everything, where basically the past 8 years that I went, all I did was I just sat in the pub and drank and listened to the musicians. And to me, that was a blast. I mean, Bob Ford he's always fun. I don't know if you know any of the. It got to the point where my ex and I knew the real names of the musicians. We actually we got to where we knew them fairly well. They would invite us to the after parties after the park closed, and that was always fun because once everything was done, send all the lightweights home, and then we'd really party. So, so that was kind of cool. But I haven't been back there, and geez, it's probably been 8 years since I've been there.
Oh wow! One of my friends, because I'm from down in the Carolinas, and so he actually, when the Ren Fair down in Charlotte started, 20-something years ago, was when he started doing it, and he met his first wife there. And actually, his oldest daughter, up until the last, I think, 5 years, was actually the princess at the Charlotte Renaissance Fair.
Oh, wow.
For probably from the time she was like 7 till, she was like 16, 17. Yeah. And so that's the Ren Fair has always just kind of, in some way, shape, or form, been a part of my life.
Yeah, yeah. Which I've been thinking about going back this year just because it's been so long since I've been to one.
Right.
But, I created a monster when I brought the ex because she wanted nothing to do with it. I had to drag her to that first one kicking and screaming. She did not want to go. She thought this is going to be boring. It's going to be stupid. She wanted nothing to do with it. And I brought her there. And ever since then, she bought all their CDs. She'd listen to them year round, which I don't mind the music of the Renaissance Festival when I'm at the Renaissance Festival and I'm in the pub drinking. Mm-hmm. It's great. When I'm in my car in the middle of winter and she wants to start, playing Renaissance Festival music, that's not the time for it.
Right? No, not really.
I'm not in the pub at the Ren Fest. I'm not drunk. Take that out the CD player. We're done.
I mean, I can't talk. I listen to pirate metal. So
Pirate metal.
Pirate metal. There's a band called Ailstorm, not to be confused with Hailstorm. It's called Ailstorm, and it's a bunch of guys from like England and Scotland who write heavy metal, but it also has like violins and stuff in it that sounds very piratey. Huh. And they write songs about drinking and going on quests and fighting leviathans, and it's all hilarious. Like you take it with a grain of salt because it's not meant to be taken seriously.
Right.
But it's some of the most fun, entertaining stuff I've ever heard in my life. When they've got
hard rock.
I mean, they've got a song called "Drink," which the chorus literally is, "We are here to drink your beer and steal your rum at the point of a gun."
Awesome.
It's great stuff.
I have to get the name from you again before we leave, just because I want to listen to pirate metal.
It's good stuff.
It's like on my bucket list.
Yeah,
skydiving, pirate metal. That's it. That's all I've got so far.
At this point, all I need to do is see Judas Priest live, and my bucket list is done.
Yeah.
That's the dream. But
okay.
I love Judas Priest. Judas Priest, man.
I haven't listened to Judas Priest in forever, but yeah, they were one of my favorites back in the day.
They put an album out 2-3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because they had done one back in like 2008 and hadn't done one. No, 03 or 2008 and hadn't done one since.
Wow.
And they put a new one out, and it was just fantastic. Rob Halford still got it.
I will have to find that because I've always been I like Judas Priest.
Judas Priest. To me, they are probably the most unsung hero in rock music today.
Other than pirate metal.
Right.
All right, I think we're going to take a break. I haven't done the comedy rundown yet. We should probably do that.
Yeah.
And see, I'm all flushed. We got on the Ren Fest, just screwed me, brought back so many memories. But no, I created a monster because not only did she listen to that stuff year round, she found other Renaissance festivals to go to.
Oh,
she
boy.
went to one. She actually her family is in Florida, so she went to one down there every time she went to visit. We actually drove up to Ontario for the Ontario Renaissance Fest, which was really cool, but you can only drink in the pub,
mm-hmm.
and you can only smoke in the pub, and there's a little rope, and you can't. It's like, well, this is stupid. So you can get as drunk as you want, and then stagger through the whole part being a jerk, or you can stay right. You can just be stationary drunk. There's no. There's no drinking while walking. I guess that's what they're trying to avoid. Is just spilled beer. I think that's what they're really up against.
It's right expensive. There. It gets everywhere. Let's not waste beer.
Yeah. There we go. Hey, according to the computer, we are now live on the air.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay. Well, it's been 30 minutes.
It's been 30 minutes since it said we were going live. So here we are.
Awesome.
All right, just in time to take a break. I'm going to go through the comedy rundown. And then I'll play us some Potter's Field. It's not pirate metal, but it's good metal.
It's good metal.
Yeah. So here's a comedy rundown for this week. Here's what we got happening this week in Dayton Comedy. On Tuesday, tonight, September 5th, open mic at Dr. Doodle's Lounge at 2510 Miamisburg Centerville Road. That show starts at 9 p.m. Wednesday, September 6th, comedy writing session at Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in Dayton's Oregon District from 5 to 9 p.m. Thursday, September 7th, Tabari McCoy is going to be at Wiley's Comedy Club. Also on Thursday, there's an open mic at the Spirited Goat at 118 Dayton Street in Yellow Springs. That show starts at 7 p.m. Call the shop anytime after 3 p.m. the day of the show if you want some stage time. Thursday through Sunday, September 7th through the 10th, Benji Brown is going to be at the Dayton Funny Bone at 88 Plum Street at the Green. Friday, September 8th, thank God it's Friday night with the Heathens of Comedy at Wiley's Comedy Club at 9:30 p.m. Also Friday and Saturday, September 8th and 9th, Greg Hall is going to be at Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in Dayton's Oregon District. And Sunday, September 10th, Wiley Sunday Comics is back at Wiley's Comedy Club. That show starts at 8 p.m. That is it. As always, check out Wiley'sComedy.com and DaytonFunnyBone.com for details and tickets to upcoming shows. Also, be sure to check out Season 1 of the Unwritten Podcast from Dayton Writers Movement. Season 1 is available right now at UnwrittenPodcast.com. Season 2, Episode 1 will be available there beginning August 12th.
About 3 hours ago, our nation came under wide attack by unknown foreign power.
Coming this summer, when biological warfare threatens extinction, the world needs a hero.
Inside this bag is the cure for the zombie virus. Ta-da! I'm going to save the world. How about you?
William Lee is Zachariah Stone in Cinema Lexicon's 6 Feet Below Hell.
Your kind is doomed, human.
That is one ugly mother.
It wasn't so bad.
Really?
Starring William Lee, William Regglesworth, Banza Townsend, and Aaron Perez. 6 Feet Below Hell. Available in Redbox this summer.
If you see someone that you know is dead and then come back to life, run!
All right, we are back on the live. I want to make sure I hit the right button there because I've been doing that lately, where I just hit the wrong button time and time again. Anyway, we're back on the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, still sitting in the studio with Mike Shea from Mike Talks Funny.
Absolutely.
Yep, and now you see why. He's also got his Facebook Live, I think.
Yeah, we're up on Facebook Live right now. Hi, everybody.
Which I usually see that's why a lot of times I try not to have somebody Facebook Living because there was one show in particular I had 2 comics in that were each Facebook Living.
Oh,
and
wow.
the whole radio show became them talking about competing for viewers on their Facebook Live. So
I put it up and let them watch. That's just,
yeah.
You get what you get.
Yeah, that's the idea behind it.
Exactly.
But that's the way the radio show goes sometimes. Sometimes it's more interesting to talk about Facebook Live. But we were talking off the air about the new It movie coming out. So
that first trailer dropped, and I was like, I knew the movie was coming out, and the first trailer dropped, and I was like, I'm not going to watch this. No, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to get scared. Somebody was like, no, you'll be fine. So I watched it, and then I didn't sleep that night. It's the most terrifying thing.
From the trailer.
The trailer alone.
The trailer alone.
I am terrified of clowns, first of all, because of the original Tim Curry It. From the miniseries.
I forgot that was Tim Curry.
Yeah,
that guy's played some stuff.
He has. I love Tim Curry.
Yeah.
But I just saw images from Entertainment Weekly of Bill Skarsgård in the clown makeup and suit as Pennywise, and the picture alone was just
traumatizing
stuff of nightmares. Wow. And then to see him in this trailer popping out from behind curtains and stuff, and I was just like, no, I'm out. No,
I'm
done. So people have been, campaigning to try to get me to go to the movie. And
see, a couple of weeks ago, I did a story about there's a clown motel That's it. You can actually, it's like $50 a night. You can go stay in there, and they're like clown dolls hanging over beds and stuff, and it's a whole clown theme. So that would not be free.
No, I've had panic attacks because people have like snuck up on me with clown masks and jump scared me, and next thing you know, I'm like curled up in a ball in the corner of the room, just like, just go away, just leave me. I don't do clowns at all. One of my favorite shows on TV is American Horror Story, and I had to skip like season 4 or 5 because it was circus themed, and the villain was this creepy killer clown, and I'm like, nope, can't watch this season.
Yep.
And now the new season, the new season, they said they're going to be doing more with clowns, and I'm like, oh, that's another season I'm not watching.
Man,
it's not even going to try.
Find a new show.
I am, yeah. They're losing one of their key viewers here, but you know, hey, I mean, I understand the nature of the show is to be scary, but there's only so much I can take.
so it is a full blown clown phobia.
It is a full blown clown phobia. I am terrified of clowns.
See, because I've never understood that. They've always been creepy, but I've never understood being that phobia.
Well, when
I guess I can kind of.
When your first exposure is Stephen King's It, you know.
Yeah, which I didn't think that was always. I barely remember the first one.
I was 4.
A long time ago. You were 4
I was
when
4
you watched
when
it?
I saw it, and it was also years
it.
after it came out. So, you know, because I was born in '89. So yeah, so when you're 4 years old and your first exposure to clowns is Stephen King's It just kind of ruins it for you. Kind of like if you go to a restaurant for the first time and you get food poisoning, you can never go back to that restaurant again.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So,
that's why I don't eat at KFC.
Really?
Or McDonald's. The clowns and the food. So do you eat at McDonald's? Is that a clown you can handle?
Yeah, because they don't put them on everything.
Right.
Only if you go to like the ones at the Walmart where it's the weird creepy statue sitting on the bench. You know, but
because actually I think that Ronald McDonald has killed more people than Pennywise. just from heart attack.
In many ways. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I think he's responsible for quite a few deaths there. But yeah, you know, because for me, I don't even actually go into the McDonald's. I go through the drive-thru where they don't have clown paraphernalia around everywhere. Just a menu,
that makes sense.
A menu and an angsty teenager, and that's all you really got to deal with.
Yeah, which is enough of a clown.
Right.
There was something I was going to say. I forgot. Oh, you're talking about being 4 years old the first time you saw that. I remember. Have you ever seen Evil Dead 2?
I have.
Sure. I was going to say, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I was 10 years old when that movie came out, and my brother wanted to watch it. As I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and I told him, I said, well, I want to watch it. You know, all my big brothers were watching it. I wanted to watch that movie.
Right.
I laughed my butt off. That was a great movie. I was not, because that's what he kept telling me. It's going to freak you out. You don't want to watch this. It's going to scare you to death.
It's got an evil groping tree.
I thought that was hilarious. I guess I've just had a sick mind. So I really, from youth, I've had a sick mind. So I really got a kick out of Evil Dead 2 when I was 10 years old.
I developed a sick mind. For a while there, you know, I grew up in a very kind of not, you know, just a very conservative Catholic family. You know, it was, you know, there's just a lot of things I was and was not allowed to be exposed to. And, you know, you get to college for the first time and it's like, hey, Mike, here's the real world. It's not a pretty place.
Yeah. So, yeah, you kind of got to develop a sick mind eventually, because that's the only way you can survive.
No kidding. I mean, nowadays, if you don't have some amount of a twisted sense of humor, even a little bit, it's hard to get through the day, I think.
Yeah. Now I'm going to, excuse me. I think I'm going to, this is a news story for you.
Okay.
That since, you know, it's right on topic.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
Just what a film fan wants to see. A movie surrounded by a bunch of bozos. But that's what will happen September 9th when a movie theater in Austin, Texas, maybe, hosts a screening of the new horror film remake, It, for clowns only, or people willing to dress like them. The clown-centric screening will include face painters for last-minute touch-ups, a photo booth, raffles, and other terrifying merriment, according to the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema's website. Since the movie, which is based on Stephen King's novel, features a creepy clown-like figure named Pennywise, perhaps the theater decided it would be pound-foolish not to appeal to more fun-loving patrons.
Okay, there's having a sick sense of humor, and then there's just being sick freaks like these guys. That's... Jeez.
See, well, as soon as we started talking that, I was like, wait a minute, there's a news story here that he would love.
Why? Why? I'm wondering how many people coming in there dressed as clowns are going to wind up like leaving terrified.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I don't know. I don't get it. I understand, you know, fear of clowns makes sense to me because I have a fear of clowns. Being indifferent to clowns makes sense to me. But being like so into clowns that you want to dress up as one to go see a horror clown movie, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like people that eat squid. I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah. Then there was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Did you watch that one?
I watched that one. I've seen Stitches. Stitches is weird. It's on Netflix. You know, if you ever want to see somebody make a balloon animal out of someone's intestines, you know.
Oh well, now I'm in.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I've seen that. You know, I've seen all the weird, creepy, cheesy horror clown movies because I'm a glutton for punishment, apparently.
Right.
But you know,
but the trailer for it kept you up all night.
If you see what the dude looks like because he doesn't look like Tim Curry's it.
Yeah, I think I've seen.
He looks
part of it.
He looks like a demon. Out of hell. I mean, it's just, and
so
I don't know.
It's not just clowns; it's demons.
Demons I'm cool with, but the idea of a clown demon.
Oh, okay,
you know,
that's where it's good to have standards. You got to draw the line somewhere.
right. You have to have a creed of some kind. Yeah.
I know we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. One of my guests on here, we were talking about another news story that involved clowns, and this guy was actually somebody called the cops on him because he was creepy. Mm-hmm. And the cops finally went and picked him up, and the way he was dressed as a clown, you know, just creepy makeup and just all dirty and looked like he'd been rolling around in something. And apparently he was an amputee, and where his hand was taped to his wrist was a machete.
That'll change people's opinions.
Yeah, that's a great that's a horror movie in itself, and that was a news story. So yeah.
Well, I remember my first year of college, my residence hall did turned the bottom floor into a haunted house, and at one point I was going through it with my girlfriend at the time, and I scare a little too easily, admittedly. But, you know, I could deal with, you know, like the guy dressed as Jason walking around with a chainsaw. I could deal with the bats and the spiders and all that, but at one point in this, you know, dark strobe light filled room, I see a clown mask, and I was like, nope, take my hand, leave me out of here, babe. We're done. And she, you know, was like 100 pounds soaking wet, you know, 5 foot even. And I'm seeing her
protect you.
Yeah, she's going to have to protect me from the clown, you know. We left. She was like, you want to go to the party now? I was like, no, I want to go home.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I'm done. All right, we'll get on with we'll skip the clowns. We'll get on with more news stories. This one's a little frightening as well. An alligator sanctuary in southeast Texas says it's on high alert as rising floodwaters risk the escape of roughly 350 alligators. Workers at Gator Country in Beaumont have been busy patrolling the watery grounds of the 15-acre preserve as water from Hurricane Harvey's rain inches closer to the top of the fences that enclose the reptiles. As of Monday evening, none had gotten loose. Gary SirAha, who founded the sanctuary, told KFDM News, we are less than a foot from going over the fences. All of these are certified high fences. But look, when it won't quit, it won't quit. What is a certified high fence?
That's a fantastic question.
That sounds like something President Trump would come up with. Right. That sounds like it's a certified huge wall. It's a certified high fence.
You know, it's at times like that when your Gator Sanctuary is about to be so flooded that the gators themselves will escape that you start questioning your life choices.
Yes, like why? Why did I Gator Sanctuary?
Yeah, I mean,
was this really the best thing I could have done?
I'm all for animal sanctuaries and keeping them safe, but you know, there are certain animals that's just like, you know, they're top of the food chain for a reason.
Yeah, they should have had a certified higher wall, I think.
No kidding.
Or a certified roof. You know,
how could they possibly? Only way they could possibly get out would be if we get hit with this hurricane, and the biggest hurricane in 50 years, and the water just Oh, that's happening. Oh,
yeah. Wow.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, if only there was some way we could have looked back and seen some example of what could happen, like if we looked at New Orleans or something like that, where things could go wrong.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, that's pretty close. That's what it is.
This is
those are the oldest reptiles there, like dinosaurs. So yeah,
okay. I guess maybe the guy who built that, his name is Phil Tibbets. I don't know. For those of you who don't get that joke, Phil Tibbets is the guy in the credits of Jurassic Park who his official title was Dinosaur Handler. And there's this meme that's been going around the internet that says, like, Phil Tibbets, Dinosaur Handler. You had one job, Phil. You had one job.
So that's in the credits.
As Dinosaur. I guess he was the guy in charge of, like, taking care of the models and the animatronics, stuff like that. Yeah,
I was going to say, because it's.
Yeah, I don't know, because at that point you have to wonder, did Steve Spielberg not realize they weren't real dinosaurs?
Yeah, was that his nephew or something?
Yeah, okay, we'll give you credit in the film.
Yeah.
You're going to be the dinosaur handler, Philly.
Yep, that's an important job. You just
little 8-year-old kid running around with a toy dinosaur. I got
it. Yep. It should have had certified hire fences.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go do another reptile story.
Okay.
Well, guess it's amphibian.
Lord,
I can't remember.
Yeah.
All those animal classifications. It's a thing.
It's not
a thing
people.
That jumps. Yeah, it's
not a
non-people. A woman in Southern California was about to eat an organic salad last Wednesday when she found a piece of protein she didn't expect. A tiny frog. She said, "I'm halfway through my salad, and as I am going to stab another bite, I see the frog peeking out from under the salad. I jump back. I scream, 'There's a frog in my salad,' because that's what you would normally
what you do.
I mean, yeah. The 37. Her name was Garfinkel.
Oh, of course it was.
Yes. The 37-year-old Garfinkel is a strict vegetarian with meat allergies. Not knowing if she had chomped on another amphibian by accident, she ran to the bathroom and got rid of the rest of her salad. Meanwhile, her husband shouted from the dining room, "It's still alive!" After he rinsed the lemon tahini vinaigrette off the tiny frog, her hubby started rubbing the frog's belly and managed to rouse it from its stiff state. Because apparently it was terrified. It was about to be eaten.
Sure.
After the amazing resurrection, the Garfinkels felt weird about dumping the frog somewhere. Instead, they put the amphibian in an old aquarium in their home in Corona and named it Lucky.
Okay. Mom, how would you get a frog? Well, I was eating a salad.
Yeah. I was eating a salad with lemon tahini vinaigrette. You got to be very specific about how you wash off about what kind of dressing you washed off your frog.
That's an important detail, kids. You have to understand.
Right. If it had been Italian, frog wouldn't have made it.
No, not a chance.
It'd be swimming with the fishes.
The fishes and the gators.
Yeah, well, it was California, not Texas.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. They could get there. They have floods enough. They can find their way.
No kidding. Jeez.
Named it Lucky. That's all it is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, he was about 2 seconds away from
at least getting stabbed with a fork and not devoured.
Yeah, no. I mean, I like frogs, but
Well, frog legs are good, but she says a tiny frog, and that's not.
I've never had frog legs.
Never had frog legs?
No. I love seafood. That's one of the few things I haven't actually had. I don't know if that's considered seafood. That's more pond food.
Yeah, I've had pond food. I've gone frog gigging before. It's always fun when you cook frog legs, you fry them in a little bit of butter, and they'll just kick. Because they got no skin left on it, so it's just because you skin them, and then they just kick around in the pan for a little bit.
Oh, man, I don't know if I could do it then.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing, but delicious. Tastes like chicken, pond chicken.
Pond chicken.
Yep, tuna is chicken of the sea.
Chicken
frog
of the
legs
pond.
are chicken of the pond.
Is it chicken or is it frog?
Yep, it was. She was having chicken of the pond salad.
Oh, it's funny. Oh, man. So, Don, when's the last time you were on stage, man?
Last time I was on stage, I got to die at Cat's Lounge a couple of weeks ago. I think it was August 15th.
Okay.
Day after my birthday, I got to bomb.
Oh, man. Did it go that bad, really?
No, It was cats. I mean, it was basically there's about 14 comics in the audience and about 2 real people.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, and comics don't laugh at anything but themselves. That's a rule. Let's just start doing comedy. Nobody else is funny.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, oh, wow. It's more you sit there and go, that's funny. Wish I thought of that.
Yeah, that jerk. He took my idea. That should have been my joke.
Right. You know, I had a thought similar to that. I should tell him he can't use that joke anymore. I thought of it first.
Yes. Parallel thinking.
Right.
Yeah. Well, to a comic, there's no such thing as parallel thinking. You hear a joke similar to theirs, they stole it.
Right.
Those jerks.
I used to do a bit about going through airport security, and then I turned on Comedy Central one day back when they still showed stand up, showing my age a little bit.
Yeah.
And
that's okay. I can remember when MTV showed music videos, so that's all right.
And the guy was performing, and I was laughing. And then he did a bit that was about airport security, and it was like almost identical to mine. And I was like, I've never met this man in my life. And I just started doing the bit like 2 hours. I was just kind of like,
he must have seen me somewhere.
Yeah, he had a cousin who with a nephew and it was a father's brother's sister's best friend's former roommate who got it on video and sent it to him. That's got to be what it is.
That's what it is.
Had to retire the bit at that point. I was like, well, it's been on TV, so there's not going to be any chance of me.
I guess it's his now.
It's his now. That's kind of the unspoken rule. Whoever gets it on TV first owns it. So.
Or the radio. That's why, radio. You know, that's why I never say any of my jokes here. You know, because they're not funny.
I actually had somebody listen to my podcast yesterday. They said, I want 45 minutes of my life back. And I was like, why? And they said, I thought it was going to be 45 minutes of you doing stand-up, not 45 minutes of you talking about your favorite cover songs. And I was like, if I had 45 minutes of fresh stand-up every week, I wouldn't be doing a podcast out of my basement, my parents' basement right now. Okay.
You didn't answer. I've seen your life. You don't really want that 45 minutes back. Believe me, it wasn't wasted. It's already was. I guess that's a bad way to lose listeners.
Yeah, I kind of want to. I mean, it was a friend of mine, so I mean.
Oh well, then they should listen anyway. And
exactly.
Just shut up and enjoy
just deal with it. Enjoy the fact that I'm doing things.
Exactly. That's why I don't have friends, because I figured none of them listen to anyway. So why bother?
I like having friends mostly because that way whenever I go back home to Columbia and I do a show at the old stomping grounds, I can be like, if y'all want to hang out with me.
You don't even look Colombian.
I don't even look Colombian.
You're in disguise. Make sure Trump doesn't deport you. I got you. Your secret's safe with me. I mean, other than going out.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, bueno. Oh. But yeah, where were we? What were we?
We were doing news. We talked about last time you were on stage.
Oh yeah.
Over at Cats.
I think it wasn't as bad as it felt. I don't think. I think what it was is I haven't been on stage since before that. It's been about almost 4 months.
Oh wow!
Since I'd been on stage, so to go from not remembering how bad it can be to suddenly remembering, oh yeah, this sucks. It probably wasn't as bad as I felt it was going, but you know.
Right. I don't know. Whenever I have
once you feel like it's kind of off, then it just the whole rest of the set. It's really hard to recover once you feel like things are gone wrong.
Oh yeah, because it hits you, and then they can tell you're losing confidence and that you know you're not doing well. And
they see right through you.
But I feel like if you have like a string of good ones back to back, it's good to have that one to kind of bring you back down. Because once you get too many good ones in a row, you start feeling like, oh, I'm on a roll. I'm doing great at this. I'm gonna be a pro in no time. It's good to have something to bring you back down to earth a little bit. Like
you throw one out to crickets and say, okay,
that's right. That's right. That's why I'm where I am.
Well, that's why we have bar shows.
Exactly,
bring you right back down.
The worst, I think, the worst we had was there was one night at Ollie's, and I love performing at Ollie's. It was the night of like a big Reds game or something like that. And so I'm in the middle of doing a bit, and I do a setup, and I get this huge applause break, and I'm like, okay, I know that wasn't for me.
Somebody must have scored. Somebody got a good hit. All right, well, it's time to wrap up.
Man,
it
goes by quick.
It does when you're having this much fun.
Had a blast. Always have a blast on here.
Yeah, but Mike Talks Funny. What's your website and what's all that? And
go to my website, MikeSheaComedy.com. Shea is SHEA, by the way. A lot of folks have said, I'm looking for SHAY and couldn't find it. Well, it's not that. MikeSheaComedy.com. I'm going back on stage for the first time on Monday at Ollie's. I usually take the summers off. So, and then this Friday, I'll be back here at Wright State for Fall Fest from 11 to 3, hanging out with the Comic Book League. So come check that out. And then, podcast every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Live on Spreaker.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Always.
Be sure to check him out at Mike Shea Comedy.
Absolutely.
And, I will be back shortly. Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. If you want more, and I sure hope you do, you can check out older episodes on podbean.com. The shows come out on Tuesdays and Fridays. If you want to listen live, we're on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream live at wwsu1069.org. And as always, if you have suggestions or comments, feel free to email thelife1069@gmail.com.
We are here to drink your beer and steal your rum.